I felt bad for Daniel Jones last week when he got hit. When he was stumbling, I thought he was going to fall and die. He did not look healthy. There was bubbles coming out of his nose and his mouth. And now you're hearing that he might play this week. I've been very surprised. A concussion protocol, you usually sit him out for at least a week to pass all concussion protocols. I was very surprised that you're hearing stories that he could play this week. Kenny Golladay gets hurt. Obviously, Saquon Barkley. And the human joystick, a guy that Speedy did not think was any good. I don't care what he says.
I didn't say any good. I said not a first-round pick.
Kadarius Toney has been sensational. The last two games, last week he had 180 yards, looked really, really good. He's got to do it consistently, right. But in the last 2 weeks, he's looked really, really good. The Giants did play a horrible team last week. Not offensively, but defensively in the secondary. Besides Diggs, I don't trust that defense in the secondary. And by the way, at one point, Diggs was playing Kadarius Toney and couldn't stop him. You see what Kadarius Toney could be. Maybe he could be a poor man's Odell Beckham. And if he's a poor man's Odell Beckham when he was at the top of his game, you definitely got something. And I think the Giants found their number one guy. I think he's going to be their number one guy. I think he's going to win that number one job by the end of this season. And Kenny Golladay, overpaid number two, $76 million. Guy can't stay on the field, and he doesn't play well when the pressure is on him. I think Kadarius Toney likes the pressure, played in Florida. He really is a human joystick. Jeff is right about him. He breaks tackles. He really could be a running back / wide receiver. I've been very impressed with Kadarius Toney. He's not big either. Fun to watch. And I think when Daniel Jones comes back, if he comes back this week, it's only going to put this team in more position to succeed. All the Giant fans stop attacking Daniel Jones. It's not his fault that he got a concussion last week.
I'm worried about them rushing him back, though, because this is like the first significant injury, and concussion definitely for somebody that's taken a lot of hits throughout his career definitely could accumulate over time. So I'm a little worried rushing him back against the Rams. You're probably not going to beat anyway, even if Daniel Jones was playing. So I don't really like that decision. If he plays, he's a trooper. Good for him. Daniel Jones, hopefully he plays well in that kind of instance, but I am definitely concerned about that. In terms of Kadarius Toney, the one thing that's going to be interesting this week is because now he's gotten 2 sample size of attention where he hasn't been guarded. You mentioned Diggs once, but mainly hasn't been guarded by a top corner. Are the Rams going to use Jalen Ramsey on him rather than on Kenny Golladay? And Kenny Golladay, because he's been more of a short route guy this season and really only has been good on third downs. He was great in that fourth quarter against the Saints, but that's really been his only flashes so far this season. Are they going to use Jalen Ramsey more on Kadarius Toney? And also, will coaching staff for the Giants be able to adjust if they start shadowing him like that? Will they maneuver him around? Even with Saquon out, maybe they put him in the backfield too because he can line up as a running back, because he can line up as a slot receiver. Maybe they put him in motion a lot of times. The Giants' motion, they don't use a lot of it, but maybe they'll be forced to have to if Jalen Ramsey starts to shadow Kadarius Toney, and we'll see if the Rams make that kind of adjustment because Toney's had that kind of success. Golladay is the bigger guy, physical guy for a corner like Ramsey to guard, but because of Toney's success, especially after the catch too, you wonder if he'll have that kind of presence on Kadarius Toney. And Kadarius Toney, after the catch this season, already 6th in the NFL, playing just technically 3 games, but mainly just 2 games because he barely got any snaps in week 1. So that's already an impressive sign. He's breaking tackles from linebackers too. It's not just corners, and that's very impressive against both the Cowboys and the Saints that are both good course.
Let's get into some of week 6 games. As far as I'm concerned, there are a couple of games that really stand out to me. And we were just talking about the Giants this week against the Rams. This is going to be a very, very hard game for the Giants to win. The Rams are coming into New York pretty hot, 4-1, lost 1 game against Kyler Murray and that Arizona undefeated Cardinals team. Matthew Stafford is an MVP candidate. Henderson is back. He ran the ball very well last week. They have great weapons like Cooper Kupp. And how are the Giants going to stop this prolific offense? Now, their secondary been subpar at best. I expected the secondary to be a dominant force, adding Jackson this offseason. Bradbury was very good last year as well. I wanted to see what this secondary was going to be. I thought this could have been one of the best secondaries in football, but they have not produced. They have not played well, and you see the difference. They need to produce in this game. If the Giants have any chance to beat the Rams, they need to shut down this prolific offense.
Bradbury's been really bad the last 3 weeks, too, and it's definitely concerning with him allowing big plays, getting more penalties. And I was a little concerned with that because he had that weakness in certain years in Carolina, but consistently the way he played last year and the way he played the first 3 games, he was looking like his Pro Bowl self from last year, and all of a sudden it's not been the case. He's back to his flaws, and that's a big problem for a Giants secondary that is questionable in certain areas, too. They have safeties that are decent, but they're all kind of specialists. Jabril Peppers not really a coverage guy. Logan Ryan not really a big hitting type, even though they did have that nice forced fumble against the Broncos in in week 1. So Bradbury's kind of that guy that is the most well-rounded guy, or should be, and he hasn't been that way either. And when you don't have the great pass rush either, outside of Ojulari, has had a lot of trouble this year. Their secondary is not going to look as good and be able to help them out in a way.
Is it starting to worry Kansas City fans that they're 2-3? This is a season that a lot of people thought they were going to have a prolific year. I heard Patrick Mahomes before the season started that he's expected to be going for an undefeated season. Well, they're far from undefeated. They've lost 3 games already this year. This defense has been horrible. I believe their defensive coordinator could be on his way out by the end of this game. If Washington beats the Chiefs in Washington this week, I can absolutely see Spagnuolo on his way out. I know the Chiefs have been to the Super Bowl back-to-back years. I know that a lot of people think that the Chiefs, if they squeak into the playoffs, they're going to be very dangerous. This isn't the same Chiefs team.
It was expected to regress because they lost a lot in the offseason, too. I don't know if you could completely blame Spagnuolo for it, between losing all the secondary pieces they did.
But they blame the defensive coordinator.
You need a scapegoat, obviously. Sometimes it's a misleading narrative, though, because the GM, Brett Veach, because they gave out so much money to the offensive line, obviously they gave Mahomes the record-setting contract. They've had to shed a lot of defensive players as a result. And outside of Chris Jones, outside of a couple players in their secondary that's pretty good, and Jaron Reed, who's played well, too, on the interior, they really have been flawed all over the place on this defense. And it's not just slightly getting worse, it's getting badly worse. I know people are saying, oh, the Chiefs will be fine, their defense has been bad before. It hasn't been this bad. At least when they were bad in 2018, they could rush the passer. Justin Houston, Tom Bahali, D Ford, and they had safeties that were pretty good. This defense, they don't have any of that. Frank Clark just came back. He hasn't really gotten his feet wet yet.
What's going on with Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek Hill is weird epitome this year. He's had 2
Stop going on
games.
YouTube. I'm tired of watching you open your mouth and say the things, I'm the best wide receiver in football. You're not even the top 10 wide receiver in football right now. You're not playing good football. And don't blame it on Patrick Mahomes because he's trying to get you the ball.
I think Mahomes has played well. He just had guys dropping, passing, and fumbling all the time.
They can't run the ball either.
Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, all these guys are dropping passes left and right. I think Mahomes has actually played well this season amidst all these weird circumstances that you don't normally see out of the Chiefs offense. And Tyreek Hill, he's had 2 great games and then 3 games where he's disappeared completely. It's very weird out of him.
I would be worried if I was the Kansas City Chiefs because if they lose this game and they go 2-4 early in the season, I don't know if they're going to get into the playoffs because the Chargers, who are going into Baltimore this week, this is going to be the game of the week. The Chargers are a lot of people's favorite to come out of the division. They've been dominant. Justin Herbert, this defense, a top 3 defense all around. They've been fantastic. Lamar Jackson's an MVP candidate as well as Justin Herbert. 2 teams that are 4-1. One of these teams are going to lose or maybe they tie. This is a game that really stands out to me, and I'm excited for this game, Speedy.
Yeah, this is one of the weird years for the Ravens where their defense is actually down in comparison to where we normally see them, and their offense has played very well in different ways because, remember, all those running back injuries they had at the start of the year, outside of Brown, they lost their top 2 receivers for the first 3 weeks, so they've had to throw the ball a lot more, and the passing volume for Lamar Jackson has been a lot higher than we've seen it before. Even in his MVP year, he didn't have a lot of passing yards. He had a lot of passing touchdowns, but didn't have the same amount of passing yards. Now he's top 5 in passing yards, and what an amazing comeback he had Monday night against the Colts, too. 25-9, they're down against that defense in the fourth quarter. 2 2-point conversions and then winning it in overtime. So many great passes in that game. And the Chargers, yeah, we've seen it with Justin Herbert all year, making a lot of great throws, spreading the ball around really well. Rebirthed Mike Williams for the prospect he's supposed to be when they drafted him 7th overall. Austin Eckler's probably, outside of Derrick Henry's, had the best year of any running back this season. And that offensive line has been phenomenal as well. So the Chargers now, they're looking into that well-rounded category of a top 5 team in the league right now. And my problem is with them always in winning close games. They're doing that this year, too.
Well, rookie coach, I don't think this is going to be a year of Super Bowl.
No, but I would say so far they've been a top 5 team.
They're gonna make a run. I think they have the quarterback. If Justin Herbert actually stays healthy, he might even be better than Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
I could see it, yeah.
Kyler Murray and the Browns, with all the injuries the Browns are dealing with right now, I can't see Kyler Murray and this high-flying Arizona Cardinals team, who, by the way, did not have a great week last week. I do not see the Cardinals losing this game. I got to give Baker Mayfield a lot of credit. He's taking a lot of risks with his non-throwing arm, with his labrum tear, and he should be sitting out and maybe getting surgery and ending his season, but he's standing in the pocket. He's taking a beat. He's still putting up points. So I got to give him a lot of credit, but Landry's not healthy. Odell Beckham still hasn't really bursted where everybody thought he was going to burst this year. There's nothing that really stands out with me. And by the way, Chubb and Hunt are not healthy. So
yeah, Chubb's already out.
This is definitely going to be a scary game. against a great defense like the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, this will be an interesting test for the Browns if they could actually get their outside game going, because it's been more tight ends and running backs, obviously, with the duo, which is the best in the league, getting them involved. But the Cardinals' defense, that's been their strength, has been more in the middle. Great interior pressure, not only from J.J. Watt, but also Zach Allen has played very well, their third-year player. 3 middle linebackers have all played great this year with Simmons, with Jeff's boy, Zaven Collins, and Jordan Hicks as well, have all played very well. Budda Baker, one of the best, if not the best safety in football. So you're dealing with a case where the Cardinals, if you're going to beat them, you have to spread it around. And Cleveland, with their receiving injuries, that's going to be very hard for them to do. But Baker did play very well last week. I gave him a lot of credit. The way they hung tough with the Chargers, they lost not because of their offense, because of their defense mainly, blowing in the fourth quarter. So if you can have that kind of game, maybe they could steal it. It'd be an interesting battle.
He's going to get paid in the offseason. I can't see the Browns giving up on Baker Mayfield the way he's played this year. He's done everything that he's supposed to do and keeping his team in it. The Cowboys and the Patriots, which I love this because Jeff, who's a big Patriot fan, and the Beeve, these guys have been going at it for years. Jeff thinks the Patriots are not as good as they've been over the years. He thinks that the Cowboys are for real this year, which is very surprising.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott's for real. This offense is for real. And this defense has played remarkably well. And Diggs is slowly but surely a second-year player becoming one of the best corners in football. I think he's got 5 or 6 interceptions already early in the season.
He has more than, I think, all but 3 teams or something like that.
It's ridiculous. He's played sensational. He's going to be up for Defensive Player of the Year. It's a sensational story. And Mike McCarthy, who I thought was going to be fired at the end of the year, well, unless the Cowboys have a catastrophical bad second half of the season, he's been very impressive. Could be Coach of the Year. It's an amazing story. The Patriots, I expect the Patriots to be in this game because it's Bill Belichick, and he will figure things out, and he'll try to stop the best player and make the second and third best player beat him. Mm-hmm. He stopped CeeDee Lamb. Amari Cooper's got to wake up.
Right.
Gallup is not in this game. Zeke's got to play hard. You know they like to stop the run, and the Patriots love to dig into the run. This is going to be a fun game to watch. Cat and mouse with Bill Belichick and Dak Prescott.
It'll be interesting, too, because Amari Cooper in his career against the Patriots so far has been the guy that's been targeted by Bill Belichick to be the guy that double-teamed or shut down by Stephon Gilmore. I think 2 years ago when they met in New England, I think Cooper only had 1 catch, and then he fumbled off of it at the end of the game or something like that. And then with the Raiders, he had a tough time in that one, too. But I actually agree with you. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be the guy that gets more attention because he's now more the quicker type guy, and the Patriots have always done well with smaller, quicker type receivers. Not that Lamb isn't great for his size, physical guy, but still, the Patriots have always had that kind of game plan. So I think the Cowboys, you'll see a lot of running in this game from them between Zeke and Pollard. The Patriots always like to let teams run and stop them when they need to type thing, and they'll try to shut down Lamb. And it'll be interesting to see if their pass rush could do well against the Dallas offensive line that's played well, but it's still not what it used to be.
Speedy, are you ready for the picks?
Oh, yeah. Alrighty. So we'll start with that Bills-Titans game. Monday Night Football, the over-under is 53.5.
Go ahead, Speedy.
I'm going to take the Titans. I'll take them on the under. I think this defense is better than they're playing right now. I know they're playing against Jacksonville last week, doesn't say much, but I think the Titans do play well in this game. I think Buffalo has a bit of a letdown after that big win against the Chiefs. I think the longer break between the games, I think, will hurt them just a little bit. I think Stephon Diggs plays well in this game for Buffalo, as does Josh Allen, but I think their Titans offense finally gets it going as well to be more well-rounded than they've been in the past, and I think they'll do just enough. Everyone will do a little bit, so I'll take the Titans on the under.
I like A.J. Brown. I like Julio Jones, who probably are going to play in this game. Derrick Henry is going to be able to run. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to keep in this game because of their defense. Josh Allen has to prove when it comes down to the nitty and the gritty, is he going to beat the top teams in football? He has done that year in and year out. He hasn't done it in the playoffs. I think this is the Titans game to lose, being that they're the home team. I think Derrick Henry still can run against this defense. I think they're going to control the clock, and the Titans defense, like you said, Speedy, are a lot better than people think they are. Give me the Titans on the under.
All right, Cardinals at the Browns. The over-under is 49.5. I'm going to take Arizona in this game. I'll take them on the over. I think the fact that Kyler Murray can run against a 4-3 defense, it's not really an outside rushing defense. I think he'll get a lot of rushing yards in this game. Even though he is questionable, I think they'll be able to make a difference in that. And I think the way that he spread the ball around against a Browns secondary that's been pretty good but has been banged up a lot of the time too, I think they'll be able to make that kind of thing work. And Cleveland, do they have enough outside? I'm a little worried about that against a Cardinals secondary that's better than they were last year but still not overly deep. So I'll take Arizona on the over.
First of all, Kyler Murray is playing. He's not going to ruin his undefeated season. This Cardinal team believes that maybe they can go undefeated this season, the way they're playing.
Good luck in that division.
Hey, listen, they're playing dominant football right now, and nobody can stop them. Even in a bad game, they couldn't be stopped. I like the Arizona Cardinals in this game. I like Kyler Murray, obviously my favorite player in this league. I think they can run the ball. I think they can throw the ball. They have one of the best defenses in football. With the Browns, with the injuries that they have, they can't run the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball because there's no Chubbs and there's no Hunt. Odell Beckham, a lot of the pressure is going to be lean on him and Baker Mayfield's arm, and his right arm is still teared on his labrum, not his throwing arm. He played well last week. Give me the Cardinals on the over.
And Chargers at the Ravens, over under 51.5. I'm going to take the Chargers, and I actually think this is going to be semi-blowout. The Ravens have two big flaws this year on defense, and Austin Eckler and Mike Williams, I think, will definitely be able to expose them. They struggled against pass-catching backs this year, and bigger-bodied receivers with big plays, and both of those guys have been two of the best in the league at doing that this season. And the Chargers defense being an outside rushing defense, I think will contain Lamar Jackson when it comes to him running the ball. So I think the Chargers win. I think they win by double digits. It's very close. I'll take them on the under, though. I trust the defense.
I don't think this is going to be a blowout. It's in Baltimore. Baltimore usually plays well in Baltimore. They don't lose. How many times has Lamar Jackson lost in Baltimore since he's come into the league? I think once.
I think they were both in Cleveland, too.
I like the Chargers in this game. I like the way they're playing. I like their defense. They're going to be able to contain Lamar Jackson to an extent. I think Lamar Jackson's still going to be able to do the things that he does very well. So I think it's going to be close, but I think the Chargers are going to be able to control the clock. I like what Eckler is doing. I like their offense. Cook has been as good as any tight end in football, believe it or not. So give me the Chargers on the under. Free-for-all picks of the week. I'm up 3. We both made the same pick. So no matter what happens, I should still be in the lead.
I guess so.
It's going to be interesting.
Maybe I'll take the Chargers on the over. I don't know. My pick was 31-20, so it's right at 51. So maybe I'll change it. Maybe the Ravens go for 2.
I got the Chargers on the under. Those are free-for-all picks.